What's up, you chuckle fucks? It's your boy, Jack Racco here with What If Issei Was a Darkness User and Became a Stray, Part 5. Now, let me go into the recap because it has been a couple of months. So, let me begin into where I last left it off with the recap. So, Issei is a stray. He became a stray after kind of finding out that his girls cheated on him, the fact that he also met a darkness demon, and he also became literally a fucking god. Don't worry about that. He also has no soul. I'll mention that why he doesn't, but well, I think I did, but whatever. I'll mention and explain why that happens. But mostly he went into mostly a dimension, or not really a dimension. He kind of was talking to his team that he was going to go to the vampire kind of location just to get more people into his cause. Because thanks to Shinkai's kind of idea to go into the vampires dimension, or not vampires dimension, mostly vampires land. Mostly it's kind of in... He went to Eastern Europe, mostly that would be like England or Germany. But of course, just to kind of find vampires. Now, of course, he found a werewolf, well, mostly 3 werewolves trying to harass a female werewolf. Her name was Leslia. Of course, she was an ice werewolf, but she didn't know how to use her powers that much. So, of course, Issei intervened by just killing the 3 male werewolves that were just normal by using a little bit of darkness. But yeah, of course, he kind of talked to her, but of course, she didn't really want to talk. She was kind of tsundere most of the time. Of course, where Issei kind of ignored her and trying to go look for vampires. This worked well. He found a vampire's territory house somewhere, like a dark castle. Or mostly like a dark kind of house that was kind of rusted and sealed away most of the time. But Issei broke through pretty easily and kind of just went downstairs to find a vampire that was sealed away. Of course, Celestia the werewolf, mostly the ice wolf, did kind of follow him. Of course, tried to stop him, but of course Issei put a magic circle to stop her from actually intervening. Of course, Issei unseals the coffin to show off nothing, but it was actually the vampire being already above him. A girl with kind of whitish hair, and of course he's, well, mostly she had palish skin and reddish eyes. Now, Celestia should have mentioned what she kind of looked like. She kind of has like this bluish, icy hair. Of course, she had like ears of a wolf mostly on top of her. She had bluish eyes that were kind of slick like a wolf, but yeah. She did have kind of palish skin, but not that palish. Mostly, she kind of had like palish snowy white, but yeah. While mostly the vampire named Allison was actually had a kind of palish like white, but yeah. Of course, mostly Allison did fight against Issei, but Issei was easily about to defeat her until mostly the werewolf intervened, and yeah. Now, of course, I think they intervened. I forgot. I think I fell asleep. I think I blacked out during that time when I was rewatching it. But not the point. Of course, they intervened, but this time Issei had enough for both of them. And of course, used, well, a sword that he activated. A darkness blade that really showed off some very intense energy. And he slashed down, just erasing their magic entirely. Notifying them. And telling them to shut the hell up for a second. This is where, well, Issei explains and why he was here entirely towards them. This is where, well, Allison explained that her actual last name is Dracula. She's a very, like, descendant of Dracula himself. So, of course, where, she then explains that mostly she's a royal vampire and a true descendant of Dracula. But, yeah. But also the fact that mostly other vampires don't like the royal vampires. That's why she was sealed away. This is where, well, she seems to be, like, around, and, well, mostly her age seems to be around, like, somewhere being 17, like a normal human of a 17-year-old, but yeah. Of course, where, well, Issei kind of nodded and asked if she wants revenge on the vampires. She said yes, and of course decided to join Issei. Now, of course, Celestia was also the same. She explains a little bit that she wasn't going to do it, but then she changed her mind entirely after remembering every bad stuff. So, of course, that happens, but this is where Issei then teleports them, and Issei had to fight against the vampires that were outside. The vampires that actually noticed the chaos and other things. While Issei went there to kind of deal with them, he defeated them all by slaughtering all the kind of vampires that were in his way, by using his darkness soldiers and his darkness sword, but also fighting against a noble vampire that was probably the reason why Allison was sealed away. Of course, he didn't know if he killed her or not, but he decided to teleport back to the Darkness Kingdom. This is where, well, he was actually almost about to get jumped by all four girls until he teleported on, well, not on purpose, mostly an accident. Well, purpose accident, but mostly he just wanted to get away because all girls were going to kill him if he didn't teleport. But he got teleported to kill, and of course, where he heard over some yokais talking about like there was a Ninetales who kind of was an evil Ninetales, and they managed to kind of grab and like imprisonment and other stuff. And this is where, well, they explained that she is right now like put in prison and other things, and this is where, well, Issei did knock him out and decided to kind of go to kind of find this prison, just because if he can get a Ninetales alliance with him, then it'll be good. Of course, Drake didn't expect that because he was actually thinking that Issei was literally building a fucking harem. But Issei is not the point. He doesn't really care about making a harem. He's actually not even expecting to think of this to make a harem. But yeah, he's not been thinking about that. But this is where, well, he gets to the forest. He finds a, well, mostly a red panda. He managed to get the red panda to like lead him towards where he needs to be. The red panda actually turns out to be a yokai, but Issei didn't see this. And of course, a white tiger appears, telling the red panda to follow him. But yeah, of course, where, well, we go into mostly, or him, her, whatever. Don't worry about that. We go into Issei going, well, mostly went up to the prison, defeated a bunch of yokais. Didn't really kill them, but just defeated them easily. Well, he did kill them. He didn't care that much. But this is where he gets towards the prison, and of course unseals a girl who was actually the Ninetales before trying to kill him, but that was unconsciously because the person who was there abusing her, he still managed to kind of like hit to the wall and probably kill, and he didn't care that much. But yeah. But of course he unsealed the girl, and the girl kind of mostly fell asleep. But yeah, after Issei managed to kind of use her, he used his magic to nullify her. Now we go into where I last left off. This is where, well, we go into a campfire. This is where, well, mostly near a river, and of course someone like kind of laying down and sleeping, having a blanket over them and mostly a jacket. Mostly, well, they have a kind of like log, well, not log, mostly like, well, it's a log with like moss on top of it, kind of like cover up. Of course, this is where, well, mostly, well, not a log, it's mostly some bamboo together to kind of look like a square. Of course, this is where moss over it and kind of just put it down the ground. And this is where, well, this person's laying down. Of course, her head is kind of like on the kind of moss thing, just so she wouldn't just be fully laying down on the like ground, the hard ground. She has like a little, what's it called, purple black jacket over her, the purple black jacket that mostly Issei wears. And this is where, well, there's a fire camp right in front of them. Of course, it's lighting up the dark because, well, mostly it's the night right now and there's stars kind of brighten up. But yeah, this is where, well, the flames are a little bit different. They're like a, well, mostly they are kind of this orangey kind of flame color. But yeah, but this is where, well, mostly they're kind of in the bamboo area, but at the same time they're mostly near a tree. But yeah, this is where there is kind of fish cooking in what's called the fire. But yeah, this is where the person sighs. Mostly someone is sighing. This is where he says, interesting. This girl, is she really the Ninetales fox demon? But then I have heard of the fact that there's the true, so there's two types of Ninetales. There's a Ninetales that's usually trained by that of mostly some of the goddesses or even gods of mostly the whole pantheon. But there's another type of Ninetales, and that is the demon Ninetales. Is she even a descendant of the true Ninetales? She doesn't look like it. Issei looks down at the kind of sleeping Ninetales. This is where, well, the Ninetales, like, mostly fluffy tails are kind of around her. And this is where she does have kind of black kind of fur, but mostly her entire fur and even hair color is actually pink. But yeah, he can't even tell if she's actually a true descendant of mostly the demon Ninetales. But yeah, he doesn't even know how or why they even expected her to be a true descendant of the, what's it called, Ninetales demon or something. But she looks like this. She looks like this, and she is kind of wearing something like that. But yeah, this is where, well, we go into mostly Issei kind of just still looking into the dark until mostly someone's eyes open. Of course, slick open, and this is where, well, their eye color is mostly Their eye color is like a pinkish bluish color, but of course it was kind of red tint for a second. And this is where she turns around in an instant right now about to claw at Issei, thinking that, well, he's an enemy. This is where Issei grabs her hands, and this is where Issei sighs and says, "Hey, can you fucking finally fucking wake up before I actually knock you out again?" This is where, well, Ninetales were about to pierce him, but this is where they stop in an instant. This is where, well, the person's eyes goes back into a pinkish blue kind of color. Mostly a pink and kind of bluish kind of color. This is where she slick eyes, and this is where, well, she actually feels confused. This is where she grabs her head and says, "Oh, what is happening?" This is where, well, Issa says, "Oh, you actually are awake and not, well, trying to kill me in an instant." This is where the girl looks up and says, "Who are you?" Issa said, "Oh, I should have mentioned my name. The name's Issei Yami. Issei Yami. And, well, you can say that I saved you." "Huh? Saved me from what?" It says that you lost your memory? No, that's complete bullcrap. You didn't lose your memory. I'm guessing that you are mostly, how should I say? Yeah, you did not lose your memory. You are right now lying to yourself. What are you talking about? I did lose my memory. Don't use your silver tongue against me. I know I can see liars, and especially those who are actually Ninetales. No wonder they actually do expect you to be from the true descendant of the demon Ninetales. This is where she flinches, and this is where, well, she then sighs and says, "Yes, okay, I remember everything." This is where, well, he says, "Still, I wasn't expecting to find someone who was actually from the true demon Ninetales. What an interesting thing." This is where, well, she then kind of says, "Are you going to try to do something to me? Are you going to..." This is where, well, before she goes on, and this is where Issa says, "No, I'm not going to try to do anything. I don't really care. I only came here to see if you're interested in joining me. Why should I? Just because you saved me, it doesn't matter. I won't join you." Issa said, "Okay." This is where Issa gets up, and this is where Issa went towards her, and this is where, well, she actually kind of like freezes in an instant, thinking that she was actually going to get a hit or something. Issa kind of just grabbed his jacket, mostly his coat, puts it back on, and Issa says, "Well, you can go." This is where, well, she looks at him with a dumb, confused look. Issa says, "I'm not gonna force you into a group that you don't want to go. So it's kind of pointless for me to actually, well, force you. Because you will try to kill me one day or blah 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 blah. Whatever. Well, I should be going then." This is where Issei kind of like puts his coat fully on. This is where, well, Issei starts walking away slowly from mostly the sight of, well, the Ninetales. And this is where, well, she seems confused. This is where the fire is still cooking. And of course, fish is still cooking. This is where she then grabs one of the fish and just eats it. This is where she first smells for any poison, and this is where she doesn't smell any of it. This is where, well, she starts eating and eating and eating all the leftover fish. This is where, well, she then sighs, and this is where she starts thinking about stuff. She really doesn't have anyone to actually, like, take care of her, any of it. And this is where, well, she was saved by someone named Issei Yami, but this is where, well, most of the persons are already walking away. This is where, well, she then realized that she just lost someone that mostly probably cared about her. And of course, is where she just completely pushed away him. This is where she then freaks out and decides to kind of run towards mostly where Issei went. Now we go into Issei's POV. Issei is being attacked by mostly yokais that thinks that, well, mostly since Issei has been near the Ninetales that with him, well, was with him, used to be, but he has the smell of the demon Ninetales. So of course, they're kind of confused, thinking that this man has actually found where the demon Ninetales is at. They request Issei where this demon Ninetales is at, and he won't die. Issei looks at them with such a pitiful look and says, "Huh? Oh, I don't know what you're talking about." This is where they says, "I guess you want to do this the hard way." This is where people attack him. This is where Issei says, "Yeah, I want to do this the hard way." Issei summons out 2 daggers, and this is where he rushes straight towards the yokais. 20 seconds later, and this is where all of them are almost dead. Well, not almost dead. They're all dead. The leader of the yokai says, What are you?" Issei says, "Well, you can say that I am the Red Dragon Emperor, or used to be. but you're dead anyway. What? This is where his head is right now, taken off from his body, but yeah. This is where Issei kills them all, and this is where a necklace, or not even a necklace, a ring actually appears from one of their kind of like coats that kind of glows kind of like a reddish and pinkish color, and this is where he says, this is such a weird looking ring. Maybe I should take it. This is where the girl, mostly the Nine-Tails, actually appears, and this is where she says, yeah, yummy. This is where she kind of screams out, and this is where, well, she noticed all the yokais already dead, and Issei just covered up with not really blood on him. And this is where Issei says, oh, what do you want, Nine-Tails? This is where, well, mostly Nine-Tails girl, and this is where, well, she sighs and says, wait, that ring you have there, this is where, well, Issei says, is it yours or something? I don't really know what it is, so I'm just gonna give it to you. This is where, well, Issei throws it at her, and this is where she then blushes in an instant, because mostly it is the ring that she needs, and this is where, well, she then looks at Issei with a curious look at why Issei even gave her the ring, and even just be nice to her most of the time. And this is where, well, Issei said, what? What do you want exactly? Stop looking at me like that. This is where, well, she then sighs and says, Yami, is there any room for me to actually go along with you and travel wherever you want to go? I don't mind if I have to join the group. This is where, well, she says. Issei sighs and kind of just like looks at her. Issei says, are you doing this forcibly, or are you just actually wanting to kind of like follow me? This is where, well, her ears kind of perk down and says, I'm actually here to follow you. I want to follow you. It's because I don't really have anyone, and I just don't want to be alone again. This is where she says. This is where Issei sighs and says, fine, then you can follow me. This is where she then perks up and says, really? Her ears perks up and her tails kind of flutter around behind her. This is where she seems happier and nicer. This is where, well, she decides to start following Issei. Issei says, yeah, just don't act too cheerful around me. This is where, well, Drake says, oh, yes, Issei, manipulate those girls. Yes, that's the best way to make your harem. This is where, well, Issei says, shut up, Drake. When do you ever shut the hell up? I would never. Now, Issei, what to do next? What kind of girls are we gonna get next? This is where Issei says, I swear to God, you're a dragon that's more perverted than I thought. I don't even want to deal with you. God damn it. But fine. He said that. Sorry about that. He gets out of his mindscape and just kind of goes towards what's it called. Mostly, what's it called? Just goes to, sorry, I forgot my spell. But he just goes and walks around, and this where, or mostly just goes to walk around. But mostly he doesn't wear it well. Mostly the Nine-Tails girl kind of says, well, mostly she then says, so, sir, Yami. This is where, well, or Mr. Yami. He says, don't call me Mr. Yami. That gives me like I'm already old. I'm only 17. This is where, well, she seems surprised, and this is where, well, she then says, you're only, what? This is where Issa says, I'm only like, what's it called, 18. Not 19, 18. This is where, well, she just says, aha. Then you're basically the same age around me. Are you human, by the way? This is where Issa says, not exactly. No, you can say that I'm mostly demon and dragon. I guess you can say that. Or, I guess you can say I'm mostly the dark dragon. This is where, well, she seems surprised and says, that's cool. This is where, well, Issei chuckles and says, well, I don't really know where to go next from here, but if you have anything to do from mostly Kyowa, then I guess, just do it. This is where, well, she then nodded and says, well, I do have some things that I actually want to get. Mostly, you see this ring, yeah? There's also a necklace that mostly I got from my grandmother before she passed away, but mostly it's a necklace that's supposed to be the descendant, or mostly a relic from the descendant of the, well, or not descendant, a relic, yeah, a relic of the original Nine-Tails. This is where, well, he says, I see. So you want us to go get it? Yeah, but I don't actually know where it is at. I guess we're gonna have to look for it, isn't it? This is where Issa says, were you the one to have it in your hand? This is where she nodded, and this is where Issa says, okay, I probably have a clue. It's probably either in the Museum of Kyo, or not Kyo, Kyo, or there you have it somewhere with what's it called, Yakuza. Yeah. The Nine Tails leader of what's it called, this place. This is where, Mom? The girl nodded, and this is where Issa says, also, I should probably ask for your name, since I never did get your name. This is where she actually widened her eyes and then blushed a little bit and says, yeah, you're right. Sorry about never giving you out my name, but let me... This is where, she says, the name is Asura. This is where, Issa says, Asura. Such a cute name. This is where Asura right now blushes in an instant, and this is where her ears goes down, and her toes just kind of just cover up her face, and this is where she says, don't say that, Yami. This is where, Issei kind of chuckles and says, I couldn't resist. You really make such a cute face when you're actually blushing. This is where she blushes more, and this is where she kind of decides to just grab him from behind and kind of just put her face behind him and say, don't look at me. No, I refused. This is where, Issei chuckles and just says, well then, we should probably get going to the city. Also, before, Issei kind of right now pulls out a ring out of nowhere, a darkness ring, and puts it near her kind of like middle finger. That's in the other side of mostly her hand that has the other ring. Mostly, yeah. Not her wedding finger, but yeah. This is where, she has it in the index finger, but yeah. This is where, she blushes in an instant and says, why did you give me another ring? This is where he says, that's basically to suppress your magical powers, and also the sense for people won't be able to sense that you're the evil Ninetales or descendant. This is where she then nodded. This is where Issei then pulls out another ring, and before kind of going, this is where, not ring, mostly he just uses his magic to suppress his power, but yeah. But we go into mostly Issei and mostly Asui, or let me say again. Asura to get towards mostly the city. They do go into the city, but they kind of bump into two people. This is where, these two people aren't, they are yokais, but they are from a different pantheon entirely. This is where, they're actually rabbits, and this is where, one actually has kind of palish white skin, and of course, where, palish white skin with the eye color being, mostly, she kind of has chocolate kind of golden eyes, and this is where, she has a figure that mostly a bunch of people will kill for. Mostly males will actually like to actually desire for it. Of course, where, she kind of wearing like an outfit that seems to be tight, but yeah, on her. Of course, she does have her rabbit ears that are white, but yeah, and white long hair. And her partner seems to be a girl with kind of darkened skin, and of course, like darkened chocolate skin, but yeah. This is where, she has also golden brown eyes, kind of like golden eyes. This is where, or golden brown chocolate eyes, but yeah. This is where, she has rabbit ears that are kind of like black, not what's called brown, but yeah, with her brown not ears, brown hair. And this is where, it's not that long as her kind of friend, her partner. And of course, she does have a bigger, mostly bust size, but yeah. And of course, where, it's not as, mostly it's way bigger than the other girl, but yeah. This is where, they bump into mostly Issei and even Asura. This is where, Asura kind of says, you two are. This is where she actually seems surprised to actually find them here. This is where, Asura kind of looks at, the girl with kind of palish skin, and his name is Blanc, and the other girl is named Noir. This is where, she says, both of you. Why are you two here? This is where, both of them looks at Asua and says, Asua, why are you... I thought you were in prison. This is where they grab her from the hand and decide to bring her somewhere. This Issei seems confused, but this is where Narwa actually also grabs him from the hand and just drags him along. This is where, they get to an alleyway, but mostly into a building, and this is where, they kind of just sigh a relief. This is where they kind of glance at Asua, and Asua says, how are you out of prison? Didn't they manage to catch you? This is where, Asua says, it's a long story, but he can explain it. Issei is gone. He turned into darkness, literally. This is where, mostly just to kind of check around already. But yeah, this is where, well, no, where's it? I swear to God, what? I got him. Where the hell did he go? This is where, well, mostly darkness letters started appearing on the ground. This is where, well, Issei just explains that he just went off to mostly scout. But yeah, he won't get easily caught that easily. But yeah, this is where, well, mostly also will say, why, Yami, why did he leave me? This is where she sighs and decides to explain mostly the blanket fill holes, but kind of. She doesn't understand that much in how she got out of prison because mostly there was over 1,000 yokai and they got defeated by one person. Then again, when she got to mostly see Yami again, when she got the ring, mostly they find like 50 dead bodies of a yokai dead. But yeah, this is where, well, she doesn't understand maybe he killed him or not. She can understand, but yeah. Mostly the two of them kind of nod and says, well, you got someone very strong, like a partner or something. They both kind of tease her, and this is where, well, someone says, don't tease me like that. No, stop it. This is where, well, they keep teasing her, but yeah. This is where, well, we go into Issei's, well, POV. So, we go into mostly Issei going towards mostly, well, just looking around of, well, Kyo. He hasn't really been here in a couple of months, but yeah. So, of course, well, he's actually just taking a good look around. Just to scout out just for mostly, well, Ashu, well, not Asui, mostly, yeah, Ashu, and of course, for the other two to kind of come out so they won't get spotted by the other yokais, but yeah. But we go into mostly Issei looking around. Now, of course, he does send his darkness soldiers to look around, but yeah. But I should also mention one thing. Issei is covering up his face with a kind of mask. Now, the mask looks like a hollow mask, so yeah, just think of Ichigo's hollow mask, but instead of the stripe being red, they're actually like purple, and instead of the hollow mask being like white, it's actually black. But yeah. So, of course, he has that mask on just so people won't actually discover his true identity. And of course his eye color is different now. It's actually what's called, he just switched it to kind of being purple, but yeah. But of course, well, he's looking around this place just so he can find where to go next and other things, but yeah. This is where, well, he actually spotted a kind of interesting kind of sight when he actually managed to hear a, well, interesting conversation. Mostly it was about a party of some goddesses and some other pantheons going towards this like place. Well, mostly goddesses, gods, and what's it called, pantheons, and maybe also yokasabi in here, are talking about a kind of relic that they found. This is where, well, Issei was hearing about this relic. Some people said that it used to be like the evil nine-tails kind of relic, and this is where, well, Issei says, you know what? At least I found the information I need to be found. Whatever, I'll be going. This is where Issei disappears in an instant, going back towards where, well, Ashu will be at. This is where, well, when Issei well, gets there, this is where, well, he sees Ashu and of course the girls, kind of other two girls talking to, well, Ashu. This is where, well, Issei appears out of nowhere in darkness, and this is where Issei says, yo, Ashu. Ashu kind of says, huh? Wait, you're back. Yummy. This is where, well, Issei says, yeah. I'm back just because I found the information on where the necklace will be at. This is where, well, or mostly relic, the necklace, whatever the hell it is. This is where, well, she then gets excited and says, really? You found it? This is where Issei nodded and says, yeah, I did. You want to go get it or what? This is where she said, yes. Issei says, biggest problem is that there's going to be gods / goddesses / also different pantheons in this place because they're going to try to sell it. This is where, well, mostly Ashu kind of widened her eyes, even the other two widened their eyes. This is where, well, she then says, would I be able to get it? Issei says, I can get it if you want to. But that will cause you trouble. And you don't want trouble with the gods or any of that. Issei says, I'm already counted as a stray, so fuck it. What's even worse if I go fucking fight against gods? This is where, well, they were actually kind of confused in why Issei says that he's counted as a stray. This is where, well, Issei said, but other than that, I'm just asking if you actually want to go get it, because I don't even know if I can actually pick it up myself. This is where, well, mostly, I should say, yeah, I think people can pick it up. I think you would just get corrupted. So, it's a good idea if I go along. Yeah. He says, fine. So, well, he then looks at the other two, and this is what the other two says. We can actually try to be distractions and try to help you out. Besides, Ashu was actually a good friend of ours. This is where, well, Ashu then blushes and says, yeah. This is where, well, then Blanca and Nora says, and besides, you are kind of her boyfriend, isn't it? This is where, well, he says, huh? What do you, this is where, well, they both grab his arm from each of his arm. This is where, and they say, besides, we want a little reward also. This is where Drake says, oh, Issei, you're gonna have to reward these three lovely girls with something delicious. He says, it's like a cake? No, Issei, I'm talking about something else, like cream. So, a cream cake. No, Issei, I'm talking about a pie. Drake, I'm just going to just say apple pie. Drake falls down and says, you're an idiot. Fine, you want, I'll explain later what I'm actually meaning, but you seem to actually be busy right now, so I'm gonna go to sleep. He says, yeah, you overgrown listener, just go to sleep and shut up already. Drake says, whatever, you little brat, you ungrateful little brat. Wake me up if you're needed, if you need me, an assistant. He says, maybe I won't need you, but, whatever. Issei then says, okay, then, sure, I'll give you a reward. Whatever that reward will be, I'll probably just throw it upon Kiba or something. Whatever. This is where, well, they kind of smiles with a gentle grin. Of course, this is where Ashu was kind of like blushing madly, but yeah. We then go into a time skip of them kind of planning, well, to kind of get the relic. But for right now, I'm a little bit off here for part 5 of this what if, since I am feeling tired like hell. My eyes have been closed for a while. Well, not for a while. I should mention that I was in the bathroom for a while. I paused it for a while just to kind of go to take a shower, and then I came back. And I'm still tired. Goddamn, I thought warm water would be able to, I don't know, wake my ass up, but it doesn't. Whatever, I'm gonna leave, but yeah, bye. This is the end of part 5, I think so. Wait. Yeah, the end of part 5, and, well, part 6 will be whenever, but other than that, bye, see ya, and yeah.